This is the Espresso Display Pro 17, a portable monitor with a cool stand and a pen. So let's check this thing out. Hello, my name is Brad. I review tech for creative professionals, and I reviewed the 15-inch version of this display about a year and a half ago, and I was only lukewarm on it. The display itself was fine, but the pen left a lot to be desired. Now, this new version came out, and I wasn't really going to do anything with it. But I knew that the team really wanted to improve the pen, and I knew that they also wanted to bring that pen to the Mac, something you don't see in these portable displays very often. And I saw another review by another artist, and I thought, okay, if they like it, maybe I'll like it too. Let's see what's changed. So I've broken this review up into two parts. The first part is the display. How is it as a display? Well, not to spoil it or anything, but it's a really, really good portable monitor, maybe the best I've ever used. And then there's the second part, which is the drawing experience. And that, unfortunately, is really, really bad. One of the worst pens I've ever used. So what we have here is a tale of two use cases. For my particular use case, probably something that you want to pass on if you're an illustrator. But if you're looking for a mobile display, maybe you'll find something good here. So let's start with that display. Now, I've mentioned this is a portable display. There are other monitors out there that are really, really good, but they're not necessarily portable. They're heavy, they're bulky. This is really designed to slip into a laptop bag, take with you anywhere you go. Now, this is also 17 inches. It's a lot harder to fit a 17-inch display in a lot of laptop bags. For example, my laptop bag is designed for something about the size of my Mac. This probably wouldn't fit in my bag, so that is something to take into consideration. Now, I've used some other portable displays, some of them which have pen capabilities before, and one thing they all have in common is that they're kind of inexpensive, cheap, really designed to compete on price. This one isn't. In fact, it's fairly expensive with all the accessories and things that I got to go along with this. I ended up spending a little over $1,000 on it. But as I pulled it out of the box and took a good look at it, I could immediately see why. This thing is made of incredibly premium materials. The entire back is aluminum. It kind of feels like a MacBook Pro. It's slick, it's well machined. There's a nice flat glass panel on the front, no plastic displays or no bezels like holding the screen in place. And the specs of this thing are really good too. It's a 4K display, it's a touch display, it's a pen enabled display. When you look at it, the colors are really bright, they're really crisp, so you're not really making any trade-offs when you're getting a lot of this portability. And in a lot of ways, this reminds me a lot of the Asus tablet that I reviewed this fall, which was a portable monitor that was also packing in many of the same features. Now, that only worked on PC. This works on Mac and PC. It's using an MPP pen that's sold separately. And that's the same tech that you're gonna find in the styluses that come with Microsoft Surface products or work with Microsoft Surface products. And I think this might be the first time I've seen someone get one of these styluses up and running on a Mac. In the box, we have just what you need. There's a USB Type-C cord and a cleaning cloth. The USB Type-C cable in many cases is enough to just power the entire monitor. You just plug it into your laptop and boom, second monitor, no power cord needed. Now, there is one catch here. If your computer does not push enough power to its USB Type-C port, you probably can't power this and run this at the same time. So there is a second USB Type-C port on the side of the display itself, so you can run power to this if you need it. I thought the display looked really good. It wasn't like an OLED screen. It wasn't the most beautiful thing I've ever seen, but it was solid, right? You've got a lot of colors here. You've got some really good contrast here. It looks good. They also sell a matte screen protector. I ended up picking that up as well because I was going to be drawing on this thing and I just would prefer to draw on a matte screen protector. I don't know how many screen protectors I've installed in my time running this channel. It feels like 100. I'm sure it hasn't been that many. And installing a screen protector is really, really hard. And the one thing I've noticed is that the bigger the device you're trying to install a screen protector on, the harder it is to do it without getting any dust or anything like that. And I will say 17 inches is the biggest thing I've ever installed a screen protector on, and sure enough, I screwed it up. I got 2 dog hairs in there, so I've got 2 nasty, ugly air bubbles in there. Fortunately for me, there's a second one included, but if you aren't confident putting on screen protectors, this one's gonna be a tough one to install. The other thing that made this device cool and left a really good first impression of me was the stand. But you could set it up at your nice standing angle, however it's comfortable for you, and you just boop, attach the screen to the back of it magnetically. It stays really well. The one thing you should know is that this is designed to stick directly to the center of that screen. The first time I got it on there, I placed it a little bit high and it started to slide when I let it go. And I was like, oh no, what have I done? But it like slid a half an inch and boom, it popped into place and it hasn't moved since. It is magnetic, so it is really easy to kind of jiggle this thing, wiggle it around. It's not like the most solid connection in the world, but I'm okay with this because it's a portable display. It's not supposed to be as solid as like having a stand on a standard monitor. Along the back, you'll see this little purple flourish. That's not just for aesthetics to look pretty. That actually has a purpose. What that is like a secondary stand. So if you actually want to use this as a drawing tablet, you pull that up and it snaps into place when you set the stand down. And now you have a really nice drawing angle. This was fantastic. I didn't know that's what it was there for at first. So when I put it down, and of course I started to drawing and the thing immediately like shoved down. And then I looked and I was going to prop it up with like a little piece of plastic that I have sitting around my office. And then I thought, wait, is that a tab? Can I pull that up? And sure enough, you can, and it works great for drawing. Now, like I said before, this is attached by magnets, so you are gonna notice a little bit of shake if your palm is like resting down at the either bottom quarter of the stand. You are gonna have a little bit of, flex there. Most of the time I was drawing, my hand was in the center, and it's really, really solid towards the center, so it wasn't really a problem in terms of like throwing off my hand or anything. Another accessory they have, I didn't pick one up because I'm probably never going to use this out and about outside of my office anyway, is an external battery that attaches magnetically to the bottom of the stand. Now, this is cool. It's basically a second battery. It's no surprise that if you attach a portable monitor to your computer, it's going to drain the battery faster. So having an extra battery there means that your laptop is just going to last that much longer and you can use the monitor that much longer. Okay. So that's out of the way. Display, good. Time to talk about the pen. But first I should throw in a quick promo. Quick shout out, I've got 2 courses, Learn to Draw in 60 Days and Intro to Digital Art over at bradsartschool.com. Check those out if you're just jumping into digital art or wanting to learn more about drawing. Back to the video. So I thought the best way to do this would be to just do a demo of the pen and what I am finding. Now, the first thing that I should point out is this is a WPP pen. That stands for Windows Pen Protocol. If you've been around here for a while, you probably heard me say it before. This is the same technology that we see in Surface pens. And I've talked about how I briefly said that I wasn't that impressed with this pen, but in the past I have been impressed with the Surface Slim pen. So we are going to test this as well on this device so you can just see how all of these pens perform. So this is Adobe Fresco. Just got a pen tool here. I have smoothing set to 0 so we can see what it looks like without anything like adjusting the stroke or anything. So if I just start drawing lines, you're going to see right away I'm moving at a pretty good clip, and this is really wavy. So often what you're looking for are slow angled lines, which is really where pen lines start to break down. If you go horizontally, they're usually okay. If you go vertically, they're usually okay. But what happens is the sensors just aren't very good at picking up those diagonal lines, so you get jitter and you get wave. Now, the reason why this is bad, other than just looking kind of horrible and giving you nasty, nasty looking drawings, is that I'm moving pretty fast. Usually the slower you move, the worse it gets. So if I move really fast, I get pretty straight lines because it's figuring out the average. It's when you start to slow down and get that accurate line work is when you start to get those waves. So let's turn on smoothing and see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my smoothing here, and I'm going to crank this up to like 25%. I think any smoothing underneath 25% is actually pretty good. So I come over here, and you can see this is not my hand moving, this is not wave. This is just really horrible, even with that smoothing just turned up to 25. So now let's go up to, we'll go all the way up to 60, and you still see at 60, you're still getting the wave. So the reason I'm going up incrementally is I just want to show you how hard it is to really kind of get rid of the wave on this pen. So let's go ahead and undo that, and I'm going to go back here, and let's go all the way up to 100, and now, hey, look at that. The wave is almost gone. I like demoing in Fresco because Fresco actually handles smoothing really well. Other drawing apps, not so much. So let's go over to Photoshop and take a look. So first of all, smoothing is not turned on in Photoshop, and you see the same thing is happening when I go to draw a line. And I'm going to draw a square, right? Just boom, a rectangle. And what I'm looking for without smoothing is that I get nice hard edges. You know, it's very easy to turn the corner and get the shape that I'm looking for. When I turn smoothing up halfway, that's like 70%. Let's dot it down to like 50%. That's what it looks like with 50%. Actually, that doesn't look too bad when I get 50% going there. But when I go to draw a box, a couple things happen. One, you lose your corners. The other thing is it's harder to match things up. Even when I went to draw an arrow, that arrow doesn't quite look like an arrow, because what smoothing is doing is it's overcompensating on those edges. Oftentimes there's lag, so it just becomes really hard to match things up. So smoothing takes the organic feel away from drawing. And I'm going to grab a pencil brush here, because a pencil brush lets you shade with the side, but this doesn't seem to work. So if I tilt it this way, I get some nice side shading. If I tilt it any other way, you know, the side shading doesn't want to work. Oh, it works on that side. Work on this angle, works on that angle. Does it work upside down? It doesn't work upside down. There's only a few angles where you can actually get that shading, and none of them feel organic to me. So I have the Surface Slim 10 here. I mentioned in the past, these tend to work better, so let's go ahead and, oops, I think my smoothing is on, because that looks really good. Let's turn my smoothing all the way down. And when I drag it across, I find this is better, but man, I'm still getting a ton of wobble. So if you were really sold on a display like this, maybe going out and getting a pen that is a little bit better is the way to go. Let me turn the smoothing up to 46. Still get a fair bit of wobble. Just know what you're getting into, that the pen and how the technology is working here, you can improve, but you're never really gonna get it to that nice crisp line that you might be looking for. Yeah, so that's the pen. Also here, I should mention that they make their own software that does some other things. For example, they have their Flow program, which I have installed here. That gives you some different desktop shortcuts, and it gives you different ways of organizing windows and things like that. These are also the drivers that are going to make it possible for you to use the pen on the Mac. And they have a second app. I didn't use it. It's called Jot. It's basically like a note-taking app where you can kind of capture your screen, jot down your notes, that sort of thing. It looked kind of cool. Not really my thing, but you might be interested. So that is the Espresso Display Pro 17. Kind of a mixed bag for me. For illustrators, I'd say it's a no-go. But if you're looking for a portable monitor and you think the other ones out there are just not high enough quality, this is probably worth looking into. But what do you think? Let me know down below in the comments. Thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you in a couple of days.